I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Rezero, Season 1, Episode 9.
Yes,
Last episode was a big one.
It was. It felt like a possible transition period into the next 5 episodes of terror of whatever death comes after this one.
It's interesting. Like, the way that we've had the first 8 episodes or so, it feels like it's been more than 8 episodes, and it feels like it's been, like, multiple, like, 2 mini arcs, almost. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's a great way to put it. That really is how the show feels, and that's why I'm like, oh, yep, are we at the point of time where we're now going to have a new starting point and a new restart point?
Yeah, I think going to the village is a massive step with the intentions that we have. I think you and I are both on the same page that it might be the dog.
It's the puppy.
It might be the puppy.
Hiding in plain sight as the shaman, being inconspicuous, either a child that he's playing with or the puppy that he even notes that he needs to have Amelia meet this puppy.
I want to know what the intentions of this curse are, because I think it's really easy to think that, like, oh, trying to take out Amelia or Roswell, but the route to get there is so, like, watered down in the sense of there's, like, so many different, like, steps along the way. Like, it can easily go to Rem or Ram.
What good would it do was the purpose to take out just a worker in the mansion? Well, what good does that actually do?
Yeah.
Does it just make there be less protection on the mansion? Or are you a novice shaman and you're hoping that your spell would transmit to another person that then touches the person that you had contact with?
Is it not politically charged at all? Who knows, right? Like, I mean,
are you just wanting to kill
are you just
strangers?
A dick?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I'm excited though. Ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
We're off to see the village, the wonderful village of Rezero. Victory!
Yes!
Victory! That's contact! See, I would have just avoided everyone.
Possibly.
I
feel like they're making me think it could be everybody, you know? Everyone has touched me now. Sweet.
To get everyone to touch him, apparently. No. Both the red and the blue, making friends with the villagers.
I'm nervous.
Is he trying to ensure that he is contacted by the shaman in this trip?
Do you think he already has the curse and that's why the puppy's upset?
Maybe.
Aww. Ouch.
Or it's that he can smell the smell of the witch on him? I don't know, that sounds like a dog thing. Hassle to deal with in normal attire.
Okay. Interesting timing, right?
It's like that doesn't even faze me. I'm too stuck on what is happening. Okay. Let's talk to Betty. Byaku. Yes, okay.
Alright.
But Roswell also touched him all weird.
Bubby.
It's very true. He would. Mm-hmm.
That logic. Oh, this gives us a hint. All different spots? What?
The bite. It is the puppy! Yes! Oh my god, it's the puppy.
We were joking.
Yeah, we were too. That's insane. I mean, what puppy has a bald spot on their head like that?
Are you fucking kidding me? I am like in disbelief. Keep an eye on that too. Aww.
Are we going to this time?
I have hope.
But we have Rem with us, which is also scary.
God,
this is a trust-building exercise right now between them.
Amelia also like looks like somebody whose husband never comes back from the sea, you know? Barrier. Okay.
So Subaru wasn't a target. The mansion wasn't a target.
Yeah.
The kids were.
Why did they bite Subaru then?
Oh.
This music's great.
Is he shaking?
He's trembling. Hell yeah! I have mixed feelings because like I'm optimistic and the thought that I'm optimistic makes me worried. Oh god.
He's like a little too close to for comfort with that one.
Deja vu.
Yeah.
In the woods. Chain.
Like a fever? They're in a ring.
They've all been bitten. Interesting.
One is still. The original girl? The blue-haired girl? Yes!
She's the one who wanted to show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like saying I want to respect Rem's feelings.
Yeah.
Because she always puts Ram first.
The witch. Start over. I can't find the answer I'm looking for. The word demon continues to come up.
We don't know how to kill a mob beast, though.
Oh, that looks like it did something, though.
Yeah, but...
Does it work?
It's
Permanent?
the witch's creation, so...
Jesus. Rem's got this shit.
It is a nice thing to say to a girl.
Jesus. Jesus.
No, 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 no! For him? No. What?
Demon? She's tapped, bro. Alright, that was Rezero. Season 1, Episode 9. Can I tell you, like, my honest thoughts?
Yeah.
Like, right when I saw, like, Rem, like, start looking up in her, like, demonic form.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that I could be totally off base here.
Okay.
But I was like, I'm in love. Like, I was like, oh my god. I was, like, infatuated.
Even the laugh that she did,
Yeah.
I was like...
I was really... I love...
Like,
what,
Amelia's cute and all, but...
There was something...
There was something...
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I understand that probably narratively, it is not good for Rem
to be
in
yes.
that form, right?
Which would make sense narratively why when Subaru kind of jumps in the way, there's like a snap back to reality
Exactly.
and back to her regular personality.
So, for the sake of Rem,
you don't want to see her
hate
like
to see
that.
it.
Hate it. Hate
for
to
the
see
sake
it.
of Ben,
Love to see it. Love to see it.
You know? Holy shit, though. Did he die?
I don't know. We do know that apparently if Ram was here, the healing would be better.
Not only
possibly.
the healing, it kind of felt like it implied that the Ram might have the ability to like remove the curse or or heal them better than Rem could, which is interesting. That's a difference between the two.
I mean, we were already kind of told that there were these big differences between them in both the personality that what they're trying to do, what their focus is on, how good they are at chores. We've been time and time again been told that yes, they might be twins and they might look alike, they might resemble each other, and the only difference be the color of their hair, but that there's much more difference actually there with them, especially with the mirrored speech. When you have that and they look alike and they're twins, but to know that like actually deep down there's both like talent differences, desire differences.
I don't think Subaru's dead, if I had to pick one.
I don't think so either. This felt like how you said before we got into this episode, that this felt like every time we get a new restart, that it's like a mini arc.
Yeah.
This felt like an arc ending, like this episode into like whatever the next episode has in store.
Yeah.
Feels like a mini arc ending.
I also I didn't see Subaru lose any limbs. It makes me worried that Rem said don't die, sure. But I also... it's the point of the show, but it's hard for me to imagine trying to come at this situation in a better way. Obviously, you would if you restarted.
Right, but the other thing is, do you really see us replaying to the point of relearning that the village kids have been taken by the mob beast and the barrier's broken? Like there's already a bit of repetition in terms of like story when we're doing this restart concept, and I think that what we got in this episode would probably feel like too much to also go over and re-happen.
But
especially because now as things are changing, Roswaal was called out of the mansion.
Yeah.
We learned about the villager and the kid. We learned basically the secret of what happens this night. But
the reason that they'd be able to get away with it is because it's not retelling the story to us and it's tiring. Subaru would be like, fuck.
He now knows the secret. He knows it's the puppy, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess...
But... It's hard because now I've like written it in my head what would happen if he died. Can you imagine like knowing the root of the problem, being like, no, kids,
in front of these children,
let's kill this little puppy. Like,
well, you know what he could do is he could have Rem walk over to the fence and be like, hey, is the barrier broken? You know, maybe initially the villagers realizing the barrier has been broken earlier in the day, they might be more on high alert.
True. And which would cause the witch to unveil themselves earlier, probably.
And then we also have the fact that Rem had to wait for the villagers to find the children in order to join Subaru.
Yeah.
So maybe if all of the villagers were on high alert, watching their children, staying up that night, they would notice their children leaving. Maybe they would go to the mansion for help. Maybe there are some people in the village that are talented at healing or other things.
Yeah. I could see them, like, taking it in another turn. But my intuition feels like he's still alive for some reason.
I feel like this is very reminiscent to me to that final kind of unconscious before he wakes up in the mansion.
This feels like it could potentially be another restart point, right?
Yeah. It feels very similar to when we were finally done with our kind of first day in this world.
Yeah. But we don't necessarily need to be asleep for that point of like autosave or restart to happen, right? Because the first one was the Appas. So, I don't know.
I kind of like the feeling, I kind of like the whole almost symmetry of it, that he either dies and then reawakes and restarts, or he goes unconscious, and then it's in that point of being almost taken out of yourself for a second that you either basically restart or live another day.
Yeah.
I find that being kind of going with the restart has like a balance to it.
Why didn't Roswaal leave before? Or I guess a better question is, what made him leave now? Because, like, I was thinking, oh, he always had left and we just didn't know about it. But then it was clarified that something changed or something happened to...
Both Rem and Ram went to the village this time. Both of them. Two flowers on his arm.
Yeah.
That was the last line or something in the episode before this, episode 8. He has the same interaction with the kids, but he doesn't have a big interaction with the whole village. He only has an interaction really with the children in his initial visits and the puppy. But maybe having the trust and the attention of the adult villagers and the respect of the adult villagers. I mean, no boy who cried wolf, when he runs and tells the villagers to wake up the other villagers, and the barrier is broken, they listen. They've already established a relationship.
So do you think it's connected somewhat to, like, the villagers meeting Subaru that caused Roswaal to leave?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know what or why. I think Roswaal said that it was some type of character, some type of
he was invited to meet
person.
somebody who he couldn't underdress for, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only notable change, and then
he has a almost trusting moment with Subaru in his departure of being like, they keep an eye on you, and it's your job basically to make sure that Amelia is safe.
Yeah. I almost thought that, like, Roswaal was somehow able to detect the curse here and didn't say anything based off of, like, his, there was, like, a slight reaction to Subaru being like, you can definitely count on me for that. Like, he kind of turned his body a little bit, but that obviously doesn't have to mean anything. You know, he tenses up a little bit after that. Weirdly enough, right? And then he just flies away. That's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? People could have like an hourglass of what's going on. I mean, Roswaal seems like he's very high up in importance, and he probably knows a lot of powerful, magical people.
Yeah.
That maybe are starting to get wind of Subaru. Maybe this village antics helps with that. Maybe because Rem and Ram are both gone from the house, that's how Roswaal's able to slip out. Maybe they told him he couldn't leave before or something.
Maybe somebody's a fan of the calisthenics that Roswaal's subordinate or, like, employee knows and wants to, I don't know.
Maybe it's because one of the villagers smelled the scent of the witch, and now Roswaal has to go answer for why one of his new employees smells like the witch.
Yeah. I can't believe it was the dog.
We were joking. We've been joking about it, even, like, outside of being in here getting ready for this episode, being like, haha, yeah, it's the puppy. I did not actually believe, like, 100% believe it was going to be the puppy.
I honestly, at one point, thought, I was like, oh shit, he just flew away. He just touched him on the shoulder. His shoulder's gonna catch fire. I was like, and he's gonna be gone. It's gonna be a whole, like, mind fuck. And
I thought the puppy was, like, a trick, like a joke by the author, by the mangaka, to make you think that that's the shaman. I thought it was like a plant there for you to be like, I wonder if it's the puppy, jokingly. And then we have this Roswaal moment, and I'm like, but this is also too good to be. This is too good. This is too possibly spot on. But we also didn't think it was someone in the mansion anymore. So, like, it's almost like bringing something back that we had already dismissed. We had already dismissed in the last, like, episode or two that it was anyone to do with the mansion, and that it had to be someone in the village. And so to have this kind of almost, like, dangling of the carrot here, I was like, wait, hold on. I wasn't supposed to be suspicious of him anymore.
I love that, like, we sometimes spend, like, an hour talking about an episode of a show and discussing what we love about it or theory crafting. I don't think we've ever gotten something like that right. And it wasn't even a theory. It was a stupid joke.
Because I thought it was a joke. Like, I thought it was there to make the audience comedically guess that it was the puppy.
What, last episode? Or, like, the previous episodes? I don't...
After last episode, I was like, huh, yeah. Once we learned it had to be an interaction, a contact that he had in the village, I was like, well, he tried to pet the puppy and the puppy bit, you know, like...
Like, yeah. It was just... I don't know, man.
I'm kind of glad it was the puppy.
I'm so glad it was the puppy.
When they make children into the villain, into the creepy thing, like in horror movies, that's so unsettling.
Yeah.
Don't make children creepier than they already are.
I was scared that the kid was gonna, like, stand up behind Subaru when the mob beasts were coming to him.
I thought it might be the kid. I thought the kid, since we don't know what the witch looks like,
yeah.
I thought maybe...
Or the shaman. There's only one witch, and that's Satella.
Yes. True. Okay, well, we don't know what the shaman looks like. I was going with witch because the mob beast were the witch's creations.
Yeah.
But I thought for a second, okay, maybe they're still trying to lead us to comedically believe it's the puppy, but really we're gonna get the whole, haha, you thought it was the puppy. No, it was the girl that was holding the puppy and she's controlling the mob beast. I don't know.
I never felt like the narrative was trying to make me think it could comedically be the puppy. I never thought that. I thought, like, it just came up in the discussion, and I was like, oh, that's a stupid joke.
Once it came up, then I had evidence from what I had seen.
Yeah.
Then I was like, yeah, it seems like they might be trying to make you come to that, like, theory on your own.
Yeah.
As a joke.
There was another really interesting piece of dialogue between Ram and Rem when Ram was like...
Does it sound weird to say Ram and Rem? Or does
Rem
it sound
and
better to say Rem and Ram? I think Ram sounds easier.
Ram does kind of sound easier.
It's a tongue twister, though.
I don't know. But after Ram was telling Rem to go and what her decision was, she said that I'll confirm with Beatrice and protect Amelia. I'll keep an eye on that, too.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, what is that? Didn't we already get some type of ominous it or that before? This doesn't sound unfamiliar to me, that we're getting some type of odd dialogue piece of something that's not being named.
Maybe.
And I you know, in the same way that Subaru's language, he calls upon the fact that he is restarting his lives while talking to these characters.
Yeah.
It's that same kind of, it's almost throwaway. Like, the person that you're talking to doesn't truly understand what you're saying with it. It kind of gets brushed to the side. It's not an important piece of dialogue to the people that are in the room in the show.
Yeah.
But to the viewer, it's an interesting, important piece of dialogue. Seems kind of like that similar idea.
Definitely.
Because it did feel familiar to me, but I couldn't call upon what was said before.
Why did the dog bite Subaru? Was it like just happenstance? Because there was obviously some intention of who the dog bit. Mm-hmm. Granted, it could just be who was around the dog the most, the kids, so it bit the kids, right? But it could also be the whole trope of, like, oh, I'm gonna kidnap kids and take them and cook them up. Like, that whole, like, you know, witchy, evil trope.
Maybe the mob beast was like, only a true child on the inside would mess with me so much and, like, pet me so much when I clearly don't want it.
So does that
disregard
imply...
my boundaries as a puppy.
Does that imply that when Subaru was at home and just tried to survive that entire week, that who died? Rem
died.
Rem got bit by the puppy?
Mm-hmm.
How did that happen? I wanted to, like, how'd that interaction come to be?
I guess the blue-haired girl and the kids led Rem to meet the puppy that they were all suddenly so in love with and getting to play with.
Huh.
But I don't know. It would also strike me as odd that, I don't know, Rem has this really strong sense of smell and can smell the witch on Subaru. Don't you think Rem would have noticed there at the village, if petting and getting bitten by the puppy, that the barrier was broken and that this puppy was evil?
Maybe.
I'm like, where are the rules here? Like, what are the actual, like, limitations and rules to Rem's power and talents.
Yeah. Well, because it's not specific in regards to anybody's power, right?
Right.
Like, we know that Betty is fucking insanely powerful. So is Roswaal, so is Rem and Ram. But in terms of power scaling, we can only,
or what's
guess
actually
so
possible.
Much.
It's almost like we're still like Subaru in this world where we don't actually know what is possible. It's like if you went into a new world and you learned that magic was real and you were like, haha, where are the dragons? And someone's like, dragons aren't real.
Yeah,
you know, it's like that kind of feeling that like you're like, oh, so we have this magical fantasy item, so we must have another fantasy item, and then someone looks at you like you're an idiot for thinking like dragons exist.
I could be completely mistaken, but didn't in episode 7... Oh, no, okay. I was thinking that Subaru reached for Rem's hand and, like, even, like, touched it. But then, I was trying to be like, how crazy would it be if there was, like, an animation detail there that you could see, like a faint bite on Rem's hand, you know?
But we have just debunked that.
Yeah.
By cool, quickly glancing at it. That scene in episode 7.
But, I mean, they did kind of, like, save themselves at the same time by putting her arms under the covers, you know?
That there is that hiding. Because normally, you would possibly see a loved one grasping the hand of a recently deceased individual. Like, to have the possibility that Ram was holding Rem's hand at that time. But, I mean, that would have led us to believe the puppy way before we
had so much hand symbolism
theorized about the puppy. Like hands, pinky promises, holding someone's hand.
Subaru feeling like there were two hands, like being held, you know? Interesting.
It's almost like a sign of friendship, promise, support.
That's where he was
companionship.
Bit too. It's like
it's where he was bit too. It's where he was cursed.
I really, really like Subaru as a character. I like him because of his writing. Like, it's easy to have a main character be nice and want to do nice things for everybody and help everybody. But his specific wording and word choice is what makes me really like him. Like, I love the idea that he's like, I'm going to keep my promises and make sure that others keep theirs. Regardless, and it's like about the most mundane things too.
And
getting up tomorrow for calisthenics.
And when he says things like that, because of the other added personality traits and character writing, it doesn't feel silly or dumb to hear him say something so grand and putting himself out there at risk of danger. It sounds just, as he has always sounded to me, incredibly endearing.
Yeah.
And I feel like we as a viewer look at him in a similar way to what Amelia looks at him as. Like, okay, don't push yourself too hard.
This show is not going where I thought it would by any means. Like, and I'm so happy it isn't in a way, because I wouldn't want it to be like predictable, right? What are they gonna do with Amelia? Like in terms of like going forward, I can imagine so many different routes.
At the moment, it's so much more. It's less focused on, oh, look, we're in this fantasy world, and the fantasy world is almost just a setting to for more of a psychological inner lookings of this main character's brain and courage and the choices he decides to make, and him trying to almost solve a puzzle in every episode while also breaking down and hurting himself physically and mentally and emotionally. And that this fantasy world is just purely a setting for that.
Yeah. It's a good subversion of expectation, because when they went the route that they have about it just being a setting and this is the story that they're trying to tell, I think it hit harder. Because if it was any other show, I think that I would have already expected us and Amelia already to be back with Felt and Reinhard. And like, you know.
You know what it has? It's like, it has that feeling that Subaru is meant to be the main character of the story, but not in that whole chosen one overkill aspect.
Yeah.
It feels like this was truly like, there's a reason we're peeking into this specific guy's life other than the fact that he was transported into this world. It's like, there's a reason to be following him. There's entertainment to be following him other than any type of he specifically was chosen for this task.
Yeah. I like it.
I like it too.
I wonder... It's such an interesting concept and main character combination because, like, whoever gave this to Subaru or, like, put this on him, if it's a person,
The witch?
Like, what did they imagine he'd do? You know,
what did they want him to do? What was the point of this? Some sick joke, like,
I don't know,
for entertainment? I wrote a few more things down. I don't know if you did. Did you?
Go for it.
Cool. So at the very beginning of the episode, I just wrote down Betty was talking to Subaru and was really kind of perplexed with how he was speaking to her. Like, I think when he came back from getting cursed. And she said, "You don't seem to be afraid of dying."
That was at, like, when Betty, like, revealed that, oh, when the curse is activated, there's no going back. It's too late. You would die. And he was like, okay.
And yeah. I wrote it down because I really like this kind of teeter-totter of, oh, we're getting close to someone possibly having some piece of this puzzle of knowing what's going on with Subaru, or he says something that is almost, maybe if someone took a step further inside their own brain, that maybe they'd be like, huh, there's no way, And it keeps you on your toes with this because you know that if he actually said it, something bad would happen to him. But it is really interesting that there's this almost like game of tag that's going on with his dialogue, but also the fact that there are other characters in this universe that can tell some important details about him, like Betty, but also Rem can smell the witch's scent on him.
Yeah. And it connects too, because that wasn't the only time this episode. There was a point that Subaru was kind of like hinting at that idea with Rem, being like, oh, how do you know, like about the witch's scent? And when he brought that up, and like that whole like, will they ever know concept is super intriguing. Will they ever piece
it together with, his dialogue and his personality, the facts of the fact that he smells like the witch.
If someone asked him point blank and he said yes, I wonder if he would die.
I know. I wonder if he'd ever try that out of desperation.
I don't know.
Desperation to have someone understand you. At the moment, it doesn't seem like... It seems like he's kind of pushed through everything. The episode title is The Meaning of Courage. So it doesn't seem like that's weighing him down any longer. I really liked when he said he knew the names, faces, and futures of those children. And that's why, he felt like this is
Those
something
two brothers were fighting over who was going to get to marry.
Petra.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
And then this whole episode, the whole trust element of like when he ran into that forest for a split second, I was like, we can trust Rem here, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially when we get this view of her running forward after she's unleashed her weapon, basically. And he's like a little like, oh, yeah, that's the weapon. And the brush, there's like these bushes and she's running through it first. And then he's kind of coming out of the bushes and seeing her almost in this like hole created by the trees, and she's like smelling, I guess, where to run to. That for a split second I was like, oh, do we trust that she's not gonna just take this opportunity out of her own suspicion to kill him and then go on with whatever this mission is and chalk it up? Oh, Ram, sorry, Subaru died in us fighting that shaman puppy and trying to save the villager kids. He didn't make it.
I like what they're doing with Rem, especially this episode, and like how it so quickly turned back. What you give to somebody, you can get back, kind of thing. Like Rem pushed Subaru out of the way with potential knowledge that she wouldn't die, but then Subaru yeah.
I love that you said that, with potential knowledge that she'd be okay.
Yeah.
But then he reciprocates with the knowledge that he might not be okay.
And Rem knows that.
And she knows that.
Please
and
don't
that's
die.
Powerful.
It is.
And then we also kind of get a line I really liked when we first come upon the kids, and Petra is more focused on her friend and like being like, there's like one more person, there's one more villager. And Subaru almost kind of is like, yeah, this sounds like you and your sister. This little conversation about putting a specific person's feelings and safety ahead of your own, even if they don't necessarily ask you to do so or even want you to do so. I'm sure the little girl would be perfectly happy that her friend told Subaru about her existence here and that she was in trouble. But still... lots of hints. Lots of little, dialogue hints at each other.
Yeah. I like the dialogue a lot this episode, actually. All right, you good?
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.